lost my thing. Hello. Minutes. Okay. Let me look at my screen real quick. All right. Looks like we're all here. Yay. I was trying to use the webcam, but now where is everybody? Okay, there you go. But for my desktop, but it was way too blurry. So I'm really glad I have this tablet now. Log in so you guys get a close up. There we go. All right. Okay. Good. Awesome. How is everybody today? Just checking to make sure that we don't have any other people coming in. Jiu-jitsu with dummies. Yeah. All right. So thank you everybody for joining. So I just want to kind of completely transparent with you guys. Caroline's not here because one of the people from my jiu-jitsu pod, his friend, was tested positive. So I'm quarantining and got my freaking test that I just took today. So waiting for those results, crossing my fingers, everything's cool. But right now I'm just in my house by myself, just training with my dummies. So that's why Caroline's not here today. I want to keep everybody safe. But in the meantime, we're going to just continue to move forward and practice with our dummies. I'm really grateful that Cha and Sarah are together. So I'm going to walk you guys through working together and executing the knee bar and the toe hold and trying to do it with as much technique as possible and as much detailed explanation as I can give from what I see on the camera. First of all, I just kind of want to check in with everybody and ask you, have you guys been practicing what I've been teaching? Have you at least had it on your mind and kind of mental chesting it going lately? It's something that I've been doing since I picked up the new practice of striking. And when since I'm not going to be able to go to the gym, I have time to kind of shadow box in my room, and I obsessively think about all the little details of how I'm supposed to move my feet and keep my hands up and how I'm supposed to transfer my energy to my fists. And I just kind of want to check in with you guys to see if that's something that you've been doing with the work that we've been going through, or at least maybe going through some jujitsu videos and recognizing some things for yourself. So I'll start with Cha, since she's closest to the camera and moving around.
I mean, I for my own classes, I'm like, well, Vaughn's teaching like the offense of this. Let me teach the defense and then how to counter it. And so that's, I guess, how I approach it right now.
Yeah, that's cool. I really love that. That's awesome, because it's, as a teacher, it's very difficult for you to fit everything into one class, and so it's good that you're showing the opposite side, and then that actually will keep us honest when we're um, drilling our technique. At least, well, both if you're solo drilling on your dummy, and if you actually are fortunate enough to have a training partner, you guys are able to keep each other honest And there's this great Netflix video or show out called The Queen's Gambit, I think. And the girl doesn't have a chessboard. I only see the first episode, but the girl doesn't have a chessboard. So she literally will stare at the ceiling and do mental chess on the ceiling. Obviously, it's a movie, so they'll do like a projector as if it's her mind, and she'll kind of mental chess and teach herself. Okay, what did this? He's not teaching me anything. What did he do? Let me see if I can remember it. Let me see if I can kind of recreate that situation the next time I play him. So that's really good. If you're able to do that, like uh, if you're learning the other side, if you can kind of mental chess with yourself, um, and kind of do like kind of like a mind game of, oh, if this person does that, then the next move would be this, and so on and so forth. I think it's really fun, but I don't know. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes when it comes to jujitsu. What about you, Sarah? What's going on? Stick to that same screen.
Not much outside of about 5 classes a week here, with 4 elements in various ways. So actually, I'm now realizing a whole lot less of that mental jujitsu and replaying sparring, which would naturally do a lot after sparring, but I'm not really getting sparring in. But sticking with the classes and drilling, and that's where I'm at. So.
Good. 5 days a week is a good handful, so I'm glad you're able to get that in. How about you, Jennifer? What's going on?
Yeah, similar. I don't have that much capacity right now outside of going to one class most days. To have brain capacity to, I would like to, but at this moment in time, it's a little unrealistic.
It's okay. That's okay. I've definitely been there with jujitsu for many years. I think I used to obsess over it a lot when I first started, and then I got to this point where I was like, I'm just training, and I really don't want to think about it. So we go through phases. It's perfectly okay. It seems like you're enjoying the time that you do spend when you're here in class, and I think that's the most important for now. Amy, checking in. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think about jujitsu a lot. I think I'm doing it constantly. Like pretty much all of my free time is just here on the mat. But I don't have anyone to roll with, so it's a little hard to tell like if any of it is helpful or not.
Yeah.
But I definitely think about it a lot, to the point of where like I can't watch Queen's Gambit. Like I got through 2 episodes and like I had to stop because it was like a little bit too close to home where she would just like
Yeah.
just watches chessboard like watches chess like on the ceiling. Although from personal experience, I do know that if she was truly desperate, she would have just made a chessboard out of literally anything because it's not that hard. So that was like kind of my take from that TV show.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it either because sometimes those types of stories, when I'm actually when I'm actually watching a show, I really want to be entertained and lost and not thinking. And so that movie, I think, is too heady sometimes, or that show might be a little bit too heady sometimes for my flavor. At the moment, I might change. But one thing I think might, do you have pets, Amy? Do you have like a dog?
No pets.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you have a dog, dogs are really fun to play with for jujitsu. Ari does it a lot in her Instagram. Especially like I had my old roommate, they had me watch their friend's dog, and he was like a big lab, and he was really high energy, so he was great to do shadow wrestling with. And especially if the dog's friendly, then you can actually really wrestle the dog. I mean, there's limited things you can do, but like the dogs are, And then also you don't want to roll with the dog the same way you roll with a person, because it's just like abuse. But in a playful way, you're able to you're able to just like move and play. And especially when I watch cats and animals roll with each other, there's like a lot of real jujitsu application that is done there. So, but another thing that I got into over the weekend, if you really want to nerd out on some martial arts and have some good reference for being heady, is a show called gosh darn it, I'll have to send it to you. It's on ESPN Plus. It's called Unlocking Victory with Gilbert Melendez and that other guy. I forgot what his name. He's super famous dude. And so they kind of break down a lot of the fights, and there's some, there's striking in there, and then there's of course grappling too. But I think that those, instead of watching a lot of jujitsu instructionals, which is something my coach would say all the time. He's like, jujitsu instructionals, whatever. If you watch live matches and break them down and then kind of see how on track you are, it's something that's really helpful. And so I was watching that show, and I was really I was surprised at how much I got into it, because I can really see the technique being applied in real time, right, against somebody who's active. And especially it's a MMA fight, so it's pretty as real as you can get it. And obviously street fight will be a little bit more real than that, but you might want to check it out. And the reason why I checked it out is because my Muay Thai coach was in one of those episodes. So he was just like the uke for Gil. So yeah, you guys might want to check it out. It's called Unlocking Victory on ESPN Plus. And hopefully it gives you an outlet, if you have the free time, if you have the mental capacity to actually do some jujitsu homework, and like feel like at least you know what's going on, or that you're progressing in some way. I think one thing my coach would tell me is, if you watch the fight and then maybe you can write it down, or kind of just verbally think in your head what's going on, and then rewatch that same clip and listen to the commentary and see how on track you are. Or maybe see, oh, I kind of picked up something that they didn't pick up. That might be a way of you understanding if you are actually understanding and grasping what's going on. Anyways, I know that was a lot of talking. Let's get to it. Let's start off with our core warm-up. And then for those of you who are only having a chair, who only have your dummy, grab a chair. And then for those of you who have partners, we're going to be doing the scrimmage to start off. Okay. So we'll start. So Sarah and Cha, you guys will start with a float pass warm up. And then me and Amy and Jennifer will start with just our knee tucks. So let me grab that fold out chair. Okay, so let's start with 20 knee tucks and then 3 walk backs. Okay, so if you have socks, grab some socks. If you don't, grab a Swiss ball. Okay, ready, starting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. You shake out your legs real quick. And then we're going to do pushbacks. So if you, so we're all here. So we're going to do pushbacks. So we're going to push ourselves back. One. 2. One more. And 3. Good. All right, so hopefully Cha and Sarah, you guys were switching top to bottom. Thumbs up if you were. Good. All right, so a scream and drill. So detail for Sarah and Cha, since I don't have really a person to demonstrate with you guys, when you're, make sure I got the chair in the center. So when you're screamer drilling, remember, you want a Michael Jackson feet. You want to make sure that you put pressure. But I'm not going to be able to show you the pressure on the chair because it's stiff. But you want to put, when you turn your foot in, you want to put pressure down where the shin is pushed below your kneecap, right? So I want my knee above the person's shin. And then I'm going to crescent moon my foot, make an arcing rainbow motion, and that's how I come in. Now, one thing I want Sarah and Cha to emphasize is every time that you come inside, you're getting wide, right? So you want to be able to, see if I can move it. So if I have an invisible object, I'm here, I'm cutting an angle, right? And I'm cutting the angle and I'm getting them wide, so they're practically doing the splits. So let me see you guys do it real quick, Cha and Sarah. And then we'll put, go ahead, Cha. So yeah, start with, so you want to have hands on her kneecaps, both hands on her kneecaps, kind of getting a wrestle position. So start again, start a little back. Wrestling position, so feet away from Sarah's hand. So if Sarah kind of does a little bit of a side crunch and tries to reach for your foot, you're going to be able to step back. You want to keep your feet away from her hands. Good. And make sure your legs are relatively wide. You don't want your feet too close together, right? Because you can fall, essentially. You just want to make sure you're pressuring in. Yeah. Now drive your hand pressure. Use your hands to drive pressure towards her knees so that her knees are getting past her hip line. So you want to get her from being out here to being a little bit crunch in. So pressure on the kneecaps. Now screamer through. Yeah, better. Now when you get each foot through, Cha, I want you to get your shin in her knee pit. So when you screamer through, your shin goes into her knee pit, here, and it fits in this space just like a puzzle piece. So shin, kneecap, yes, and then shin, kneecap, wide, get wide. So you want her, do it again, child. You want to keep her shins below your knees. So shin, kneecap wide, and then shin, kneecap wide. Keep her wide, yeah, and squat a little bit. Yeah, like that. There you go. Okay, so Amy, Jennifer, I want you guys to both keep that in mind while we're doing this drill. Okay, perfect. Amy, you have your dummy. So go ahead, put your dummy's feet up. Amy, let me see you do it. So, but the dummy has its butterfly hooks in. Good. So you're gonna screama one foot in and get your shins. Yeah, kneecap in those knee pits. Knee pit wide, and squat down just a little bit. And straighten your back so your back isn't like rounded. Yeah. And you want your dummy to basically kind of do like a really wide, like you want to stretch that dummy's groin. Boom. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. All right, Jennifer, you and I are going. All right. So we're here. We have to envision these things. We're getting wide and we're getting wide. And then if you see me in the big camera where you can see my whole body, in order for us to kind of practice getting wide, I'm cutting that angle with my head. So you see my head moving to one side, boom, and then with that screamos, I'm moving the other side. If you need time, you can actually, I have a foldable chair. So I'm just kind of here squatting and then pushing the legs apart. Even though that my knees aren't in the legs of the chair, I'm envisioning that that's where I am. I'm in between the knee pits and I'm squatting and I'm keeping them wide. Mm-hmm. And you can do both shins in, screamo both shins in, Jennifer. One, and then screamo the other shin in. So don't take your other foot out.
It's too narrow. I can't get both in at the same time.
Oh. So here. Boom. And then take a moment as if you were in there, both in between them. I'm stepped behind the chair and I'm just spreading the legs apart and I'm getting wide. Just take a moment to visualize that part too. So we don't mentally, even though we're not able to physically do it, we don't mentally skip that step that we're supposed to do on somebody. So a lot of this dummy solo drill training is more mental training and mental jujitsu, mental chess, just like in Queen's Gambit. We don't have an opponent in front of us, but we have to mock the situation in our minds. Good job. Who's this on top? There you go, child. Good. Are you guys switching, Sean, Sarah, are you guys switching top to bottom? Now, switch top to bottom song, Sarah and Sean, so I can see Sarah do it. Nice, Sarah. Nice. Not this part in there. Yeah, try not to pick up your foot, because if you pick up your foot and you're not putting pressure down on her shin, she can elevate her foot and continue to follow your leg. So she'll keep that hook nice and strong. Okay, everybody look in real quick on this Eskrima drill. Sarah, Shot, either one of you guys can demo for us. So when you're as you're Eskrima-ing, I want you to think that as you're Michael Jackson footing in and you're putting that knee pressure down onto the shin, you're trying to glue her heel to her butt. Right? So you Michael Jackson foot in and you're really putting pressure down hard on the shin. So you're trying to glue her foot to her butt. Yeah, and then the Eskrima happens over. The trick is, and I can't really see this on camera, but I can kind of see her moving a little fast. The trick will be to keep connection to her shin the whole time. So if you become disconnected as you're screaming over, right? And I'll demonstrate on the chair. So if I'm doing this, see how my knee is in connection with the chair's leg the entire time? I'm not lifting up my knee. I'm keeping the pressure there the whole time, and I'm just swiveling my foot around the chair. That's the connection you want to keep. A lot of the time when people do this drill, they elevate their foot, their knee, and their knee is no longer connected to the shin, and then they try to Michael Jackson foot over. If the person's a sensitive guard player, they will be able to track your leg. As soon as you lift up your knee and you're taking pressure, as soon as you lift up your knee and you're disconnecting from the shin, you're taking pressure off of her leg, which means that she has enough strength, she has less resistance to keep her shin pinned down, right? If she has less resistance keeping her shin pinned down, that means she can elevate her foot and track your leg and where it's going. So make sure you're keeping downward pressure onto her shin as you're screaming over, and keep that connection. All right, everybody continue drilling. A few more, and then we'll go into the knee slice pass and then the back step and then the bar. I know, Amy, it'll be difficult for you to replicate that on your dummy, but do mentally try your best. So Michael Jackson foot in, and don't, so when you Michael Jackson foot in, you're driving your foot off of the floor. You're not elevating your foot. So it's, this is actually something Hyder, my Muay Thai coach, he tells me squish the bug. So if that makes more sense to you than Michael Jackson foot, squish the bug, squish the bug, squish the bug, squish the bug, right? So that really forces me to drive pressure into the mat. There you go, Sarah. Try not to elevate your foot. Try not to become disconnected. Good job, Amy. A few more. Okay, so let's move on, because I know I talked a lot earlier. So, okay, I'm going to use Barry now. Barry can't keep his feet up, but that's okay. I'm just going to mock it. So, I've come to this place where I can Eskrima both legs in, right? And if you get good, then I'm getting very wide. And if you get good at this, you can really remix your Eskrimas. So we want to set up the knee slice pass. In this case, we only really need to Eskrima one leg in, right? So we can keep the other leg outside and we don't have to get entangled into that hook anymore. Once we've Eskrima the leg in, you're going to shift your weight. So I'm going to come from being directly in line with Barry to like pulling Barry to the side and getting offline with Barry. Okay? Once I'm offline with Barry, I'm dropping my shin. I'm dropping my shin into his hip, and my hand will be touching his hip at the same time. So let me go over that again. Here, my hand's on the knee pit. He has both pecs inside. I'm pushing down onto his knees. I'm screaming one leg in. I can put my hand to the hip, his hip already, and then I'm gonna pull Barry offline. So I'm centered with Barry, then I'm gonna pull him offline, and I'm dropping into his hip crease here, right? From here, this is when I'm gonna drive pressure. So if you see my knee, I'm gonna drive my knee down, so I get from being on my knee to being more hip to hip. And this is where I can start lying on Barry, and I'll get my hand underneath his armpit, and I'll start pushing at his head to tack his head to the floor, so he can't move his head. And then I'll slide my head off to the other side. So you guys already see me kind of cuddling his arm. As soon as I get down, I really want to block this space where Barry is going to want to get his elbow and start shrimping, like creating space on my hip and shrimping away. So this is where I'm either, a lot of people teach to pull up at the arm, and no-gi, that's a little bit more difficult because you don't have the gi. So it's a lot easier to just do double underhooks and then crawl your hands in. And I'm going to use my head to turn him. My other foot is going to get wide, step, and it's going to drag my hip off of him so I can slide, baseball slide out into the knee slice pass. So I know this is pretty basic, but I really love to just review the basics to set up into more advanced movements like your back step pass. So again, I'm here, right? I have pressure on his knees. I want to get his knees past his hip line. If Barry's knees are in front of his hip line, he has a lot more dexterity and range for his legs to protect him. When his knees get past his hip line, Barry is more clenched in, and if strikes are in play, like I can touch his face all day. Okay? Barry's getting knocked out. So I want to really compact Barry as much as possible. So I'm here, I'm driving pressure into his knees. I'm screaming in, my hand tacks to his hip. I'm going to drive Barry offline, right? From here, this is where I'm going to get my hip pressure. I'm sneakily getting my underhook in on one side, and then getting my underhook on the other side, tacking his head to the ground. I'll slide my head offline and turn his head with my head. Baseball slide out into side control. Does anybody have any questions? All right, let's give that a few drills, and then we'll get into the back step. Did you scream it through already, Amy? I didn't see. Okay, yeah. Try to tack your head to the ground, Amy. And so try to keep your head up. Drive your head to the ground. And then he has no space. And then drop your hips a little bit more. There you go, Jennifer. Boom. Yep. Yeah. Nice, nice. Oh, one detail I forgot to mention on the knee slice pass. Sorry. I'm here, right? Underhook on Barry. Boom. I get the baseball slide out. I get the pass. And then, so Barry's hips are no longer facing me. What I'll do is I'll back that ass up, girl. So I'll back. So then his hips will turn this way. That's what happens. Right? So when you're backing your hips up into him, their hips usually turn away from you. So that means their guard, all their cannons, that is going to suck you back in, is turning away from you. So after you get the pass, back it up, and then you can readjust back into side control. Boom. Yes, nice, Jennifer. Yep, back, back, back. And then adjust back to side control. Good job, Jennifer. Back, 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 Amy. Yep, yep, nice. Good job. Okay, one more, Sarah, and then we're going to move on to the back step. Okay. All right, you guys. Moving, I'm going to add in the back step because I'm pretty sure we all know this pass. Just one thing to note, the reason why, after I'm here, boom, I go to this hip is because if I don't put my hand at Barry's hip and I put pressure here, and also I need to keep my elbow, when I do so, I want to keep my elbow connected to my rib cage, right? I want to keep it close here, is because he's going to want to play with this hook. And he's going to use it to either use his foot to post on me to get space, to get his Z guard or shin guard, whatever you want to call that type of guard. And as soon as he's able to get a shin or a kneecap or any type of little anything onto my hip, it's another wall, it's another barrier that I have to work through in order to execute the pass. So by me putting my hand here and then also keeping my hand close to my rib cage is blocking those entries. He can probably try and come over my arm, but you really need to put weight onto this hip so that it's going to be way too heavy for them to bring that leg up and over your arm, right? So you really need to put weight here. And also you can flare out your elbows and keep it close. It doesn't need to just be stationary here so that you can read what's going on with the leg. So sometimes when you get here and the person's like, they have this shut down, they can't come over the top. Sometimes people just feel their only option is to just kind of cross their legs over your toes, but you're already kind of past, your knees out of the hole. So you're already kind of past. And you can just kind of muscle your way through by kicking that, using your top leg to kick out their top leg to get it out. But we're like, now we're leg lockers now, so we're just gonna leg lock you because we wanted that anyway. So you're here in the knee slice pass, and they've got their foot locked onto your leg. So you're gonna take this arm that was originally underhooking them, cross it over their head, and back step over that leg, right? Once you back step, what did I say last week? You want to get your butt high. You have to get your butt high onto their hip and onto their face first before you start executing any type of leg lock, because the person who knows, they're going to use your low position to kind of scoot you off. So the more you're able to get your butt kind of onto their solar plexus and then onto their face, you're using this hand here, let me get buried up, to block their head movement, right? So they can't really go anywhere. You can have your hand here above the shoulder, or you can have your head at their armpit and then raise their armpit over their head to block out their head. It's either or, it just kind of depends on where your hand lands and also what you're feeling is going to be most effective for you in that typical situation. But do know after you execute the back step, because we're trying to do knee bars and toe holds, I highly recommend you start pushing your butt high first and just riding out the storm. The person's going to want to buck, they're going to want to push you off. So make sure you keep your hips high and kind of like in their face where they're like here, they're trying to get you off, and like on their chest, at least on their solar plexus, so you don't want to sit too low. For the knee bar and toe hold, if you were going into the saddle position, you can stay low all day because we're going to kick that leg high into the face. But for knee bars and toe holds, you want to stay heavy. So you want to stay on them, on their chest. All right. Any questions? So Jennifer and Amy, let's watch Chad and Sarah do it first. So you guys can have some sort of real life visual, and then we'll go into our dummy drilling. Yeah, I think where you guys angle this is good for now. Boom. Here. Yep. And then from here is where you're going to want to go high. So you can take that right hand and underhook her leg. Yeah, the leg that you want to attack. You can underhook it at the knee pit. So right now we're not going to sit into the leg lock at the moment. I want you to sit on her solar plexus and go, even slide up as high as her chest, like onto her, on her shoulders, kind of high, and stay heavy. And I want you to feel that, Sarah, and then try to buck, try to like slide her off or whatever. All right, if you can move your head, you can't. So you start using that hand, Cha. See how wide that, I think that's your left hand, how wide that left hand is. Yeah, try to get it hugged to her face so that you can start to feel where she's going and block her head out as she's moving, right? Boom, exactly, good. And I like how you're knee pinching with the your leg underneath, kind of how we do that scissor motion on the arm bar, right? So you're keeping tension on the leg. Makes sense? Try it again. Go here, boom. Yep, Sarah's gonna boom here. Now go back one step before you back step. So here, you can literally, since she's hugging, you can take your time with the back step and just sit on that top leg. Just sit on it. Yeah, you can V-pop into her armpit if you want to. So V-pop means, see my hands, it kind of, my fingers, they kind of look like a chest. Yeah, boom, exactly. Now she's kind of shoulders flat, really sucks for her. Now you can back step when you wanna, boom. Block out that armpit. Dig out, yeah. There you go. The head and stay heavy. Good. All right. Okay, Jennifer, do you have any questions?
Well, so in the last one, when Chop did the back step, Sarah still looked like she was pretty, like her back was perpendicular to the ground. Is the V-pop thing, or is the goal of that to get her back more flat on the ground before you do the back step?
Yes, the goal is to keep her pinned and get her back flat. If her back isn't flat, it's not that big of a deal, but you can really slow down the match if you, you can really slow down the match if you pin the person and keep the shoulders. So this is probably something you want to do for an especially scrambly person that knows how to move. well. But you don't always have to do that. You can really catch them in the transition on that back step. Amy, do you have any questions or thumbs up? You ready to drill? All right, let's do it. Watch you guys. So you start working yourself into the knee slice pass, Sarah. So you want to get, as soon as her her knee comes behind, yeah, this is where you can back step. Yep. So that, is that your right hand? Needs to come over her head as you're back stepping. Yeah, because you want to block her out. Block her out at the head. You could have gone even into the armpit. So take your hand and put it in her armpit. Now slide your hand up to her head to really spread her elbows away from her hips. Yeah, and get her like completely stretched out. Now use your other hand, that one, to hook up at her knee pit. And keep her foot elevated. Yeah. So a little less, yeah. A little less at the ankle. You can just go straight for the knee for now, at the knee pit. Yeah, right here. Just keep her here. Boom. Yeah. You don't have to go too high. But her goal is like you can go a little bit above the knee pit because her goal for the defense will be to get her legs together and to like push her legs down, right? So the more you're able to keep her foot elevated, the less she'll be able to defend that leg lock. Try to transition your top hand a little sooner, Sarah. Sorry. Okay, I'm checking you out, Jennifer. Yep, dummies cross his feet. Boom, to the side. So I want you to transition your hands too at the same time as you're back stepping. Yeah, yeah, get heavy. Transition that hand, Amy. That right, left. Yeah, yeah. That's like you can have an armpit and just slide your hand high so that his elbow is as far away from his hips as possible. You want him to go from here. See how if his arm is here, it's defensive versus here, he's completely opened up. Right? So like slide your hand as high to his head as possible. Yeah. Not away, but just behind you. Right? Good. Go ahead. Yeah, from here. Good. Keep that leg high. And I want you guys to do what Sarah's doing. See if you can see me in the close-up camera. So the more you're able to your knees at like an angle, and then you're using that bottom or outside leg to put pressure in and kind of, I'm doing the scissor motion, you're going to keep the legs pretty tight. Because obviously we don't want to be loose because then the leg is loose. But it's not necessarily a knee pinch, it's like a vice. So my legs are doing kind of the scissor motion, and that's going to keep the leg pretty tight, and you don't have to use as much muscle energy. You're just kind of using tension to keep the leg tight, and then you're going into the knee pit, and then you can kind of pull it up top from here. So I try to think of it as an arm bar. So the reason why I was saying for Cha and Sarah to go to the knee pit is because once I come here, I'm trying to get elbow deep, not just wrist deep. Because if I'm wrist deep, the person is more likely they're going to be whipping their leg around, and they're going to get that leg very easily over your hand. See, It's very little distance for the person to whip their leg from your wrist to your hand. But if I'm elbow deep on it, then, and I'm keeping it tight, just like an arm bar, then it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to whip their leg around and out. So I'm keeping that elbow tight to my chest, keeping it arm bar. So I go knee pit deep, elbow deep, and then you can sync it up and get it a little higher above the knee pit, right? So here, boom. I'm using this scissor motion vice. So that bottom leg, that outside leg is coming in at an angle. It's not straight up and down. It's at an angle. Okay, try it. Once you get into the knee pit and get it tight, Sarah, you can cinch up just like mid calf or whatever. So she can't hook her legs and her leg isn't heavy. So make sure you really sit on her for this, Sarah. You really want to sit on her. If you're off to the side, you're falling off. You will be executing a different leg lock. So you really want to be completely facing the leg. Get your butt high. There you go. And one more. There you go. Nice, Amy. Walk your butt high. Walk your butt high, Amy. Push your butt back. Push that booty back. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's move on into the finish. So, okay. So I'm here. Knee slice pass. He hooks my foot, and then I'm back stepping, and I'm getting high and heavy. Right. The person's like trying to push you to the side. I'm gonna be. Try this legs here. So I'm here. They're gonna typically what you see Chance, they're doing this. The person's gonna try to drop you off to the side, or you can just go for it yourself. So I'm here. I'm elbow deep, and then I'm getting tall, right? So I really want to activate my posterior chain, and I want to keep the head on the low side. I don't want the head going on the top side. And I can tell you this from experience because I was really close on a knee bar in like, was it Gracie Worlds? And if the leg is here on this side and you're trying to finish with the top hand, the person will use this leg to kick their leg free, right? And then the reason why a lot of like 10th planet people and people who really train leg locks don't really care for knee bars and toe holds is because if you miss it, you're completely giving up your back. And that's what happened to me. So heel hooks are actually a lot of a safer leg lock to go for. They're a little bit more forgiving if you know what you're doing. So when you're here and you're posting on the leg, what you're going to do is you're going to change your hip position. So you're sliding and you want to curl that butt, right? So you can, you really want to curl the person's glutes by just like curling in. And then you're going to take your top hand, put it over the foot, and you're going to push it down, right? So I'm pushing that leg down as I'm falling in. As I'm into this position, I'm going to go for the finish. It's just like an armbar. That's all it is. So I'm ice picking, knee curling, and hamstring curling. And then I'm going to hip in and stretch that leg tall. Okay, so I'm here in a curl. I really want to activate my posterior chain. Ice pick my feet. Ice pick my feet. Hamstring curl. Get tall. Hip in, right? And keeping that foot down and pushed back into them is going to help you keep that tension. All right. Thumbs up if you guys want me to do it again. Okay, I'll do it again. So I'm here. Person's grabbing onto my leg. I want you to notice how I'm transitioning my hands. So I transition my hands first, and then I transition my feet, right? So my hands are already here. You guys, what I'm seeing is that you guys transition your legs first. You're already in this position. And guess what? This whole side is open. So that typically means you're going to fall and lose position. So you really want to transition your hands and your legs at the same time. You initiate with your hand, and your hand and your foot should be landing at the same time. Right? So I'm here, transitioning, boom. So I'm already blocking out the head. I'm going to push myself high, dig in for the knee pit, and I'm going to get tall. Right? So I'm keeping that knee pinched as the person is pushing me off to the side, or I can just initiate falling off to the side. I'm going to switch my legs. I'm going to keep them dug into the ground and switch, right? Push into the foot, push it down, ice pick, knee curl, hip in. My back should already be tall. And you want to also think about kind of as you're hipping in, you're kind of stretching the leg long. Nice job. Good job plucking the leg, Amy. That bites. Push down to the foot. Ice pick the foot. Good. Yeah. Yep. Good job, Jason. Good job, Christopher. A little bit more ice picking on the toes, Sarah. Ice pick. So as I've been here, this will activate your calf and your hamstring muscles. You know you got some strong legs, so it's like barely need to flex. But hand over the heel, Amy. Instead of behind like a rear naked choke, you actually want to grab the heel and push down on it. So you're grabbing the foot and pushing down on it. So you're thinking of like, say this is, I'm gonna do this hand. So this is the hand that, so this is the hand that would like normally go down behind the neck for a rear naked choke. Instead of going behind the ankle, you're gonna push down on the kneecap. Same position, but it's just like you're pushing down on the foot, pushing down right here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, one more. I want to leave you guys with an extra thing. I saved the toe hold for last because it's pretty simple. I really enjoy setting up the toe hold into. I mean, I actually use toe holds more for various things, and like I'll use toe holds defensively on people all day. I don't really use them to finish too much. But I mean, I'm trying to break the person's foot as I'm doing it, but it's usually just defensively to set me up for something else. And it works really well to set up a knee bar. So same position, everything's the same. So you're here, boom, passing up. And then sometimes they know you're trying to go for this foot. So they're going to hide their foot and figure four here, right? Into figure fouring to protect their foot. You still are having your hand underneath here. The only difference is you're gonna slide your hand underneath, keep your legs crossed, right? And grab the toes, right? And then you're gonna curl the toe in. So I'm curling the toe in to break the lock, right? Once I'm here, I can go. You can finish with just the toe hold. The finish is you typically try to put your hand to your head to your hand, and then you're twisting with your whole body to get the finish. And usually what the defense is for people to straighten their leg in order to put the boot on to escape the toe hold. So as you're going for the toe hold finish, the person's putting their boot on, that feeds straight into, and I don't want to hit my head on the chair, that feeds straight into the body. So I'm here in this position. Person's got their legs figure four. I'm just grabbing at the pinky toe and then pulling through to pop the lock out, right? My head goes to my hand, and I'm rotating with my whole body to get the finish, pulling everything in and rotating. Now the defense here is the person's going to want to straighten their leg. You're going to let it go. That's when you transition out. Hand on top of the heel, curling in into the knee bar. Any questions? Give that a go.
How are you breaking the crossed legs again?
We'll watch Sarah and Shaw do it, so you can actually see it on live person. So here, boom, boom. So you're gonna protect the other leg. If that leg's on top, Sarah, you're not protecting the knee bar, right? So here, so her hand comes underneath to the toes. Pulling the toes down to her butt first. There you go. Sorry. So one thing I want to note is that when you're finishing the toe hold, I always try to think of putting a big toe in their butt. So I'm here. If I'm here in the toe hold position, boom. I'm like I'm turning here, I'm twisting, I'm turning, but I'm like really trying to dip that big toe in their butt. That really helps get the break a lot easier. Once you're here, boom, and then you're executing it. Chad, can you tell us any difficulty that you had with using the toe hold to unlock her butt once she had the figure 4? You have to unmute so we can help Amy out. Any details you want to describe to Amy on using the toe hold to get out of that figure 4 lock?
It would be really hard against somebody who has big feet.
Yeah, they're probably going to be flexing those toes. So I'm just snaking my hands through between that little crevice of the thigh and the thigh and the foot, snaking my hands through, and then you want to grab. Take my socks off. Always grab at the pinkies for toe holds. So you really want to cover those pinkies. Some people, when they try to toe hold me, they go the opposite way. They go towards the big toes, and I'm like, ha ha, you don't know how to toe hold. So I'm not afraid of that. But if somebody goes in towards the pinkies, right, and they're trying to bring these pinkies together and really stretch these sensitive little bones here and turn them in, then I'm like, okay, this is threatening. And so that's how you want to go for it. Snowflake is very curious right now. Yeah, this is kind of the point where they're like, go ahead and just go for the leg lock. But yeah, if you're here, then boom. What is going on with your hands? I can't really see your hands, Sarah. They don't look completely right. So you don't want to be out here trying to finish the toe hold. You gotta first bring the knee close to you so that the foot is close. So you want to have these little T-Rex arms. T-Rex arms to execute the toe hold. T-Rex arms for almost everything in jiu-jitsu. Honestly, if we're out here, we're completely extended. We have all this space that we're giving up for underhooks and chokes and, ooh, my God, takedowns. So that's not good. No bueno. So once you get under that, once you get elbow deep on the leg, bring that leg to your chest. That way you don't have to reach so far. Yep, you're gonna figure 4 this way, and then you're gonna switch. Now bring the knee to your chest first, Sarah. Knee to your chest, hike it up. Yep. Boom. Now reach through. Yeah, boom. Bring your hands to your head. Pop it. Yeah. One more, and then we'll continue with the toe hold to knee bar next week because we're kind of over time. There you go. Nice footwork job. Yeah, if she doesn't go for it, if she doesn't lock, then that's okay. So from here, yeah, no, you can unlock your feet, Sarah. Just let her practice the toe hold real quick. Go ahead, go for the toe hold. Grab all four fingers. So there's part of the toe. Chop. You can see my toe up close. Let's see here. There we go. If you grab too far down the foot, it's very hard to stretch these ligaments, right? It's very hard to stretch these ligaments if you grab below the knuckle of the foot. So you want your index finger right at the base of the knuckle where you can really get a good squeeze of bringing the toesies together like this, right? So you really want to be able to bring the toes together. Once you're able to bring the toes together, this works anatomically because the defense is to put on the boot, right? So she actually wants to do this with her feet. She wants to flex and ice pick her toes and spread her toes as much as possible. That's her defense. So you want to get over that and bring those toesies together and kind of curl them even a little bit. Bring them down so they're all nice and soft and pointed. That's when you can come over and connect your own hand to your wrist. I can't do it on my own foot. I probably told myself, pop my foot demonstrating to you guys. But that's when you're gonna be able to bring your hands together. So get her toes nice and soft. Boom. But now see how your head is so far away from her foot? You wanna bring your head to your hand. And like Darren used to be like, tell me to glue my head to my hand. So you're really like, yeah, dipping. The toe hold's a little bit more of a divey thing. So you really kind of want to first bring this in as much as possible and then get your head, yeah. So, yeah, better. All right, let's look in. Questions, comments. We'll start with Sean and Sarah since they were together. And, I think whatever things they notice is really going to help the group out.
Must be not understanding the orientation of the toe hold because I feel like their knee is in my chest and it's in the way.
Can you show me? Let's see if I can do single screen. How do I do that? Switch. There we go. Okay. You can get your chest over the top of her shin, so her knee doesn't have to be there, right? You can get her knee through your armpit. Go ahead. No, sit back on her. Sit back on her, Sarah. Yeah, get her knee through your armpit first. Yeah, back there. Right, so that's what I'm saying. Are you just grabbing her toes? You're not grabbing her pinky? I'm sorry, it's just like the way the camera looks. Okay, there, that looks good. You can even grab a little bit more onto her toes. Yeah, right there. Now, can you grab your own wrist? Yes, right there. So you really want your forearm, the blade, like right underneath her ankle Achilles. Right? Make sense? Does that feel better? Okay, let me see you transition there before you go. Transition from that toe hold into the knee bar. Let's see how that feels. So you're going for the toe hold and then she tries to extend her legs and it transitions into the knee bar. So here, boom, boom, boom. So your hand, so your hand's grabbing your head, that's fine. that top arm, I want it on the heel. So rear naked choke that foot. There you go. Just like that. That's your grip. And that grip is going to be a lot less loose. That feel better? Good. Anything else from you, Sarah? Is that it? What about you, Cha? Anything you noticed?
I like that when you transition your hand placement, going underneath the armpit and like really raising their arm over their head. I like that one.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good. Like I said, it that is pretty. It depends on the person, and depends on like how they're reacting. But both grips work well. It's just about making sure that you create a wall so they can rotate. Who's next? Jennifer.
Yeah, that getting that toe hold. I mean, it's easy enough to do on the dummy because it's really flexy. But yeah, I was wondering if the way I was doing it, and I don't know if this is realistic on the dummy, is I was actually getting the knee further out and getting the leg super bent so that I'd be closer to toe that way. But on a real leg, is that unrealistic?
Just kind of what I was saying on Sarah, even on a person with smaller legs, I would probably have the kneecap behind me, or at least in my armpit a little bit, so that I'm not blocked out by the thigh, if that makes sense. So I can't there. I still have more room for me to go, to move forward for the toe hold specifically. For the knee bar, it doesn't matter if the wall is there, then you got the knee bar. But the thing is, if that knee is blocking you out, that leg is going to be super tall for the knee bar, right? So I typically kind of adjust the knee as back to my chest or back to my hip line, because I don't want the knee up here. I want the knee more at my hip line, just like in an arm bar. You want the elbow more at your hip line than like super tall up here, because otherwise you still have arm, right? You're like trying to armbar from way up here. So it's kind of usually kind of navel, hip area, even for the kneecap. Then that leg is going to be a lot shorter and more. You want that heel kind of right after your ear. Anything else, Jennifer? No. What about you, Amy? Anything that you kind of observe, still trying to figure out?
I guess pretty much I had a similar reaction to Sarah in terms of feeling like there was a lot of leg in the way. So
yeah, well, you want to get that knee from up here to down here, right? Because the knee up here that's gonna be a wall. It's gonna block it. So you want to get it down. That's why sometimes the toe hold is it can be high risk. It doesn't always have to be. You just try not to attack toe holds when the person's chest is facing your back. I typically will go for toe holds when I'm on my back, the person's standing up and they're trying to run away. So in a lot of those ashi positions where we're going for the leg locks and like trying to shoot into the ashi for the sweep, that single leg sweep we do into the leg lock, a lot of times what people do is they'll run away, but I'll still be in the leg entanglement. So in order to get from being on my back to standing up, I'll use the toe hold. They got to respect that, and it legit will pop their foot if they don't react to it. So it's a really, like I said, I some people don't like it. If you guys know Elliot, he was like, I think I was rolling with him one day. He was just like, he really thought the toe hold was a BS kind of submission, and he's a 10th planet dude. He loves leg locks. He's like more of a heel hooks the king, right? Which it can be, but the toe hold can really work as a really great defensive submission for the submissions. But yeah, anyways, take care, Jennifer. sorry to keep you guys late. I know I kind of ran on today, but I'll let you guys go. Let me know if you need anything else. And yeah, I have some workouts for you guys on the Slack channel, so check out those links. And I'll talk to you on Saturday. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.